So what are the main signs that you should look for to know whether or not an ad is a winning ad, right? What makes an ad a winner versus what makes an ad a loser? Well, I'm going to show you what are the signs that I personally look for in a Facebook ad to know whether or not it will become a winner. If you're new to the channel, my name is Justin. I'm the founder at paidadvertising.com. I've spent over $12 million on ads in the last 3 years, on track to spend $3.5 million this year alone. And let's get straight into it. So here in front of me, I've got the first sign, which I think is quite self-explanatory, which is time active. So how long has an ad actually been running? I'll basically tell you two things. I'll tell you signs that I look for into the competition, and then the signs that I look for into my own ads, essentially. So this one is a sign I look for in the competition. Typically, I look for these signs when doing my research before launching one of my own ads, right? So time active right here is how long has an ad already been live on the ads library. Facebook is great to know that. I typically like to save these ads also to an ad library like foreplay.co, which is what I've done here in this case. And you can see, like, look, these two ads, they've been active for 6 months plus, right? It's like May 23rd, 2023, and then this other one is July 27th, so 180 days, 115 days, respectively. Unless a business is funded, unless a business is for some reason just burning money or burning cash, there's no reason they would let an ad like this run for that long if it's actually not performing. So chances are an ad like that most likely is a winner in getting them good results, or else they would have had to turn it off way before this point. Or perhaps it's just a bad agency running these ads, but that's a separate topic, right? The second indicator that I have, which I think is one a lot of people often get wrong, is a good or healthy spend to ROAS ratio. So I'll make that a little bigger right now on screen so you can see that. So you can see here at the top as an example, one of the things that I'll often do, which clients sometimes ask me why when I do that, but I'll be on a reporting call, and then what I'll do is I'll filter by amount spent. Instead of filtering by ROAS, I'll filter by amount spent. You'll typically find that there are ads that have a better spend to ROAS ratio. So let me make that even slightly bigger right here so I can show you even more what I'm talking about. But as an example, right, let's take a look at these top two ads. One ad right here is $1,500 in ad spend, 2.5 ROAS. Here there's $1,430 in ad spend, 2.7 ROAS. If you take a look at the purchase conversion value, the top one is 3.92K. The bottom one, or the second one, is 3.96K. So looking into that, this bottom ad or the second ad is actually a stronger ad than a top one because it has a better spend to ROAS ratio in that case, right? So that's what I mean by spend to ROAS ratio. We want to find which ads on the account have a high amount of ad spend, higher than usual typically, and then have also the healthiest ROAS, which is not necessarily the ad that has spent the most. I just want you to be mindful of that. But it's also not the ad that has the best ROAS, because look at this. Sometimes I'll see people claiming this ad as a winner. It's like they'll launch a new ad. It'll get, as an example in this case, like $45. People will be like, wow, that's a winner. It's scalable. I need to just put more money towards this ad. Is it really scalable, or can you really claim it's a winner when other ads in the same ad set have spent thousands and gotten like much lower results technically? Like this ad most likely performs because it has a low budget, because perhaps the desire is so narrow that it fits a narrow audience, but as soon as you try and scale it, which forces the algorithm to go to a broader audience, it'll stop performing. So number 3 here, I'm talking about strong positioning, because it's actually an ad. Depending on when you're watching this video, you might have already seen the video I discussed about this ad, or it might come up next. But essentially, strong positioning, I mean by here two things. One, a researched ideal customer persona, right? So the signs of a winning ad usually start before the ad has even been launched. I talk about marketing competence or marketing intuition a lot in my videos, which means that the more experienced you become as a marketer, the more knowledgeable you are in various different spaces and offers, and the more you've seen. It's like, who would you trust, to give you advice with, let's say, handling your kids? The young parent that has like a 1-month-old, or the essentially like great grandparent that has had its own children and then its grandchildren and now great grandchildren, right? You'd probably trust the guy with more experience because he's done it more times, he's seen more things, and therefore probably has a better grip on your, would it be market, business type and such. So here's some of the signs I look for in a winning ad starts before I actually create that ad, which is in my research phase. So let's say thinking about a researched ICP, right? So I mean here my demographic, the gender of my audience, where are they situated, what do they like, what do they dislike, what do they do on a day-to-day basis and such. And then the 3 pillars of an ad, which in that case are the mass market desire, and I'll tell you why I put that in all caps and underline right here. Awareness level and sophistication stage. If you don't yet know about these 3 things, check out other videos on the channel where I've spoken in depth about what these 3 things are and how can you best leverage them for your ads. But there is a difference between a mass market desire and a market desire, because a market desire could be somewhat narrow, right? Let's just say you're selling sunglasses, and perhaps you're selling sunglasses and then you're tapping into a market desire of when you are fly fishing, you don't want your glasses to fall off your face, okay? And all of your ads are about a guy, like a guy that's actually fly fishing, and then the glasses keep falling off when he throws his, rod at the water, whatever. I'm just throwing some random ideas right now, but that's quite narrow, right? It is a market desire. There's probably certainly people out there, or hopefully with your research, you found out that there are people out there that have this desire of not losing their glasses when going fishing, but it might not be a mass market desire. There might not be enough people sharing that desire for you to scale this ad. And that's one of the core reasons why ads break at scale, is because the desire is not commonly shared enough by other people. It's too narrow. So if you have a low amount of ad spend, you're able to reach without saturating the right pocket of your audience. Whereas if you keep increasing this ad spend, Facebook has no choice but to start showing your ads to more and more people, which means you're going broader. And then let's say if you're showing, again, these ads about a guy fishing and then just losing his glasses to a guy that has never fished a day in his life, he's like, why would I care, right? So that's why you need to pick a mass market desire. A desire shared by enough people that will allow you to scale. And typically it's okay if the ad that got you, let's say from your first 0 to 10K a month, is not the same ad that's going to get you to $1 million a month with your e-commerce brand. But you will have to go up a level typically and go broader and broader with your desire to reach that bigger and wider net, essentially, with the market. And number 4 is the creative in the ad itself, right? So that's what I mentioned right here, and I've kind of posted the same ad that's I've shown earlier, which is like the ad type, the trend, the pacing, and the creative testing over all of these other variables. So ad type, once again, right? So looking at like what are the signs of a winning Facebook ad? Well, you've researched what ad type you need. No, it's not just static for a specific space. It's not just UGC for a specific space. It's also brand specific. It depends. I've run brands in the health and beauty space that UGC thrived, whereas I've run ads for brands in the same space where statics thrive. It depends on various things. Again, going back to the pillars that we have right here, the awareness level will dictate what types of ads typically work best. Because for sure, if let's say your audience is super most aware or they're product aware, maybe a static just showing the product is enough because they already know about you, right? It might be enough to push them over the edge. Whereas if you need more education, if there's like a problem and solution you got to speak about, then perhaps you got to go with videos. So that in itself will be influenced a lot by these pillars. But going back right here on trends, also making sure that you're capitalizing on any of the current either sounds, as an example, on TikTok, or perhaps like style of videos that would be blowing up organically. So it's good to keep a pace on what's working organically before creating these ads. Pacing of the video itself, so fast pace or longer style of video, 9:16 or 16:9. That too in itself, right? Like as an example, I'm showing you an 18-second video because we tested for that client 30-second plus video, 60-second plus video, and even I think a minute and a half. And we've always found that short, punchy videos around 15 to 30 seconds were the highest performing ones. What that again is done through testing and experience, and that kind of fuels your marketing confidence and intuition, as spoken about earlier. Finally, creative testing over any of these other variables, which is creative testing over creator testing, copy testing, sound testing, etc. If there's one thing for you to spend time testing, it's not your copy. It's not the little headline here at the bottom. It's the creative itself. That does most of the heavy lifting, because as mentioned in my recent video about the Meta Agency Summit learnings that I've had, looking through what Meta is saying, which they're going more and more towards broad, inviting you to open up your audiences and telling you that creative is the variable, that creative is the targeting. It's like your creative does everything. It is the one that will decide whether or not it gets allocated ad spend, because Facebook will decide if that creative is worthy of getting spent based on how strong it is. 2, it's going to find you the right audience. 3, it's going to convert that audience, because now, especially we're going towards more video. Same thing, same in that video, the Meta Agency Summit findings that I've had. Reels on Facebook and IG are now revenue neutral. So the time spent away from stories or feed, right? Where typically when they launched Reels, a lot of people were spending time on Reels instead of spending time on feed and stories, but the algorithm hadn't quite figured out how many ads to show on the Reels feed, which meant that there was less ads on the Reel feed than there were on the regular feed or the stories. So Facebook and Instagram were losing revenue when they introduced Reels because it was stealing people away from those ad placements. Now it's not the case anymore. It's revenue neutral because they figured out how to show more of these ads, which goes to show you it's more and more people using Reels. We all know that TikTok has already been a great platform to advertise on in the last couple of years. YouTube short ads are also starting to pick up some traction. So if you're talking about video in itself, people quite frankly don't really pay attention that much to these small little text at the bottom of the video. What do? They watch the video in itself. Every time you'll find yourself, let's say, scrolling through Reels or TikToks, you'll first watch the video, decide whether or not it's worth your time to keep watching it, and then if the video is like either like wild or it's something that really captures your attention, then you'll decide whether or not you want to read the caption. But typically you don't start by reading the caption and then deciding whether or not you want to read the video. So in itself, those are most of the signs I look for either before or during running ads to see whether or not I'm about to create a winning ad, or if the ad I'm currently running, which as you've seen earlier, is spend to ROAS ratio, is the main indicator that I look for into a winning ad. So I hope you found some value in today's video. If you're an e-commerce brand owner watching this video and you want to work with a paid media, paid search, or performance creative agency, then click the link down below and book in a call to speak with our team. We are Meta, TikTok, and Google Badge partners, and we'd love to help you scale your brand over the next couple of months. So on that note, check out other videos on the channel for some more useful e-commerce marketing tips, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Peace.